A pleasant morning to members of the media. I'm Wayne Meister, Superintendent of Police. And we are here this morning on behalf of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service for a press conference. On the press conference today, we have the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Gary Griffith, Mr. Deoda Dulal-Chan, the Deputy Commissioner of Police, responsible for operations, and Mr. Jason Ford, Assistant Commissioner of Police, Crime. We want to take this opportunity to also wish Trinidad and Tobago Happy Valentine's Day on this day, February 14th, 2019. All the best to you, Trinidad and Tobago. So at this time, I will hand over to the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Gary Griffith, who will give you an apprise the nation of some very important issues that are facing the nation. Mr. Griffith.
Okay, good morning. What I will do before I start, I would just like to ask the Deputy Commissioner of Police, Mr. Dulal-Chan, and ACP, who actually led the operation so far, and it is continuing, Mr. Ford, to actually give a brief as to what has transpired so far. Prior to this, however, I'd just like to state what Mr. Meister stated. Yes, it is Valentine's Day, and it is pure love. It is not pure hate. What the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service we are doing, this is in no way a degree of intimidation. It is no way a degree of profiling. What we are doing is to make sure that we defend our country. We have a nation to defend. I ask all citizens to continue to support us in what it is we are doing. I just want to clarify certain matters here. The Minister of National Security stated that there would be an increased law enforcement pushback to criminal activity. That is being done. I wish to also take this opportunity to explain the concept of the alert state. This is not a national security alert state. This is an alert state by the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. We have that authority based on increasing the state in the police service based on the escalation or the decrease of the threat assessments. And it can move from green to amber to red to black. And based on the escalation or decrease, we will know how to utilize our resources. We have heard for far too long the concept of we intend to beef up security. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service is not an abattoir. We don't beef up security. We have to be very clinical in how it is we deal with utilization of our resources. As the increase if it goes up, there's a certain degree of different things that you will see in our law enforcement and operational policies. And this is being done at this time. The increase is based specifically and solely due to the increase of gang-related activities and homicides. I wish to add, however, that at this same time last year, there's been I think it's between 18 to 22% decrease in homicides in comparison to the same period last year. This in no way must be seen as a degree of comfort for law-abiding citizens. One homicide is obviously more than we want. The fact of the matter, however, is that almost all of the other divisions, there's been a decrease in homicides this year in comparison to the same period last year. Unfortunately, in Port of Spain, there was, I think, one homicide last year, and we have 12 this year. This is the situation we have here is based, again, on one or two of just a few individuals, and I refer to them as punks. These individuals have continued to be the catalyst towards crime in this country, serious crime, heinous crime, homicides, gang-related activity. And they must in no way be seen to be, we must sympathize with these individuals. What they are doing is destroying our country and using young men for their cause. I spoke to several of these individuals during the operations we had over the last few days, and what I have realized is that they are so blinded by blind loyalty by these individuals, they don't care if it is they lose their lives. What I find unfortunate is that we have a nation to defend. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, they've worked tremendously over the last 48 hours to do what is required. And then after you will see the certain arms of the media, and I know it is your right to show anything, but you have 1.2 million people supporting us because they want us to fight back. They want us to do what is required to protect them and to provide them with their most fundamental right, which is that of safety and security within the law. But then we will find outside of that the few thousand persons who may not like what we say. So I wouldn't mention CNC3 or others that decide to find the one or two individuals to speak that they have a concern with what the police is saying and what the police are doing. Not the 1.2 million law-abiding citizens, but they will find one or two individuals, I wouldn't call CNC3 name last night, but they will find the one or two individuals who will have their pants 1 foot below their waistline and have the audacity to try to question the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. That is their right, but it is our right to protect and serve with pride. It is our right to make sure we peg back these criminal elements. So to CNC3 and others whose name I wouldn't call, we keep finding these individuals, and I'm sure what is going to happen eventually, certain attorneys who defend persons of interest. They will be the first persons that the media will try to get their views. And that I think it is unfortunate. Because remember, as the Commissioner of Police, my job is to find these punks and to put them where they belong. The jobs of others is to turn them into their clients to try to get them back out. I do wish to make a statement as well that it is very difficult for the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service to do our job when we do all that is required through intelligence, getting information, arrest persons, have persons arrested with firearms, and within a few hours or a day or so, they are released and they go based on the easy access for bail. It makes it very difficult for the police service. Hypothetically speaking, it might also be an individual who may have several serious cases pending, and then bail is given to him, and then maybe all of a sudden you start seeing an increase in homicides. It just so happens when this happens, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, we are doing all that is required. There have been comprehensive operations. I wish to commend the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. There have been several different units have been involved in these operations, varying from the Guard and Emergency Branch, the Port of Spain Task Force, the Port of Spain IATF, Northeastern Division Task Force, MOPS, SORT, Highway Patrol, K9 Mounted Branch, OCIU, Special Branch, Port of Spain Division, Western Division, and several other divisions. From the highest position and office in the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service to the most junior rank, we've pulled up our sleeves to do what is required. This is not cosmetic. What we are doing is to make sure we peg back the criminal elements. Persons will then automatically start to speak about the usual. Well, what about the big fish? What about the persons in other areas? The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, we have no intention to profile anyone or discriminate anyone. What we would do is to discriminate anyone who breaks the law, regardless of where you are, who you are. We have seen these operations take place on several occasions recently in West Moorings and Valsane, and I wish to take this opportunity to clarify the matter with the ACIB. Even prior to that misleading article, I won't call Dennis Wren's name from the Express, when it is she tried to allude that the Commissioner of Police had changed his mind. If it is, English is a very simple language. The attorney, at no time did Dennis Wren have the basic common courtesy to contact the Commissioner of Police to get clarification. That says a lot. Or even speak to the Attorney General. Had she done her homework, had she done proper journalism, she would have understood that way before that ridiculous, unfounded article was published to give the perception that the Commissioner of Police had changed his mind. I wrote to the Minister of National Security. The Minister of National Security, it is recorded in the media that he stated that he had information that the Commissioner of Police had recommended for the ACIB to be merged under one umbrella under the Financial Intelligence Division. So the fraud unit, the fraud division, the ACIB, the cybercrime, and the other divisions dealing with, and the FIB could all work together under one umbrella to ensure we deal with white-collar crime. So at no time did I ever change my mind. What I would not do as the Commissioner of Police is to blatantly make a statement to direct that any ministry should have units removed from them. I have to be very clear of my role and function and my responsibility, and the government has theirs. My role and function is to recommend, and my recommendation has been accepted. And what it is that the ACIB would definitely come under the umbrella of the FID, which will be in the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. So Gary Griffith does not flip-flop. I stick to what I do, and I stick to one thing, which is what is right. This is a situation, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media. We are in a war. We have a nation to defend. This is about good versus evil. This is about right versus wrong. This is about all of us getting together and circling the wagons to make sure we peg back criminal elements. The situation of gang-related activity, this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Many individuals are being affected. It is not by chance that there have been more assassination threats to myself in the last 2 months than how many test matches won by the West Indies in the last 10 years. And there's a reason for that, because I am doing what is required. I intend to continue along that line, and as the local parlance, who vex loss. We intend to do what is required to peg back criminal elements and put them where they belong. What I give the assurance is that what we will do it within the law. I'll have further questions after, but what I will ask now is for Deputy Commissioner of Police, Mr. Dulal Chan, to elaborate a lot on what took place over the last 24 hours.
Whilst the main focus of this operation was, in fact, in Port of Spain, indeed, across the country, all divisions, there were simultaneous operations. So I would now like to ask ACP Ford, who would have spearheaded, to give you all an idea as to some of the outcome of the operation.
Thank you very much, sir. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and again, happy Valentine's to all of you. And as Deputy Commissioner Mr. Dulal Chan said, our main focus was Port of Spain because of the spiraling of gang activity that was taking place a few weeks into, let us say, up to 72 hours ago. But although that was so, the entire Trinidad and Tobago needed to be reminded that our remit is to protect and serve all the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, all the visitors, and all the business people. To that end, we had clinical exercises that were conducted, exercises that were evidence-led. It was not a wish-wash type of thing. We had evidence that led us to these exercises. All station districts were involved, and all divisions participated. And what we had briefly is that we had a total of 27 persons arrested within this 72-hour window. Key in those arrests were several gang leaders who were responsible for plotting, collaborating, and giving instructions to create mayhem within Trinidad and Tobago, more specifically Port of Spain. Those persons have been detained, and we are now monitoring the situation and looking at the cam that we have, and then we will be now evaluating and taking necessary actions to go forward. We had 30 warrants that were executed for various offenses. We had 105 tickets that were issued for driving under the influence, speed tickets, and you would appreciate that speed continues to contribute to major accidents and deaths on the roads. So we had tickets that were issued towards the termination of those type of behavior. Stop and searches, what we refer to as roadblocks, were very strategic, and we had a total of 259 stop and search exercises that were conducted. These exercises may result in minor disturbances to your normal run of the day. Bear with us. It is all in an effort to create peace and stability in the Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you.
Questions? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we now invite you to ask questions. We ask that you identify yourself, your name and your department, and please use the mic so that we can get this, your questions recorded. We acknowledge Mr. Kyle Saunders from, okay. Mr. Mark Bassant.
You always opening the button,
Mark Bassant, Director Investigative Chairman. Commissioner, I know that one of the persons in question had been incarcerated for a long time. I just wanted to find out exactly how that person was actually able to get bail based on the charges that he was incarcerated for at the MSP. I just wanted some clarity on that, if you can, without calling the person.
Sure.
Thanks.
No, definitely I won't. I cannot state or to direct the criminal justice system. Our role and function ends on most occasions with the arrest. One individual, he attempted to acquire bail on several occasions. For some reason, bail was given to him. It has happened that since that has happened, there's been, as I stated, at the same time last year, there was one homicide in Port of Spain Division. The Port of Spain Division has been very instrumental in locking down Port of Spain and making it as safe as possible. And I wish to commend the police officers at the Port of Spain Division for what they have accomplished. It is difficult, however, that, as going back to your point, that there was one homicide last year. At the same time, this year, there have been 11 homicides since that same situation that you spoke about has taken place, 11. I am not in any way here stating that this is a contribution to it. Coincidental? Maybe.
Commissioner, Shane Suburban from the Wednesday newspaper. In the past, we've seen some exercises like these, not only in Lavental and Port of Spain, but throughout TNT. What I wanted to know from this time around, you know?
Yeah, okay, sure. Well, again, because the use of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, the alert state, we have now moved from amber to red. This must not be seen in any way for the public to be fearful. What it is that what we are doing is stepping up what is required to ensure that you are safe and secure. So there's a concept of operations that is nationwide, and whilst that alert state remains, we believe that there may be a perceived threat, and the perceived threat has nothing to do with, the only thing it has to do is based on one or two specific individuals. I refer to them as punks, thieves, parasites, cockroaches, have continued to try to destabilize our country and to prevent our citizens from having a safe and secure society. We will continue at this level until we peg them back and let them know exactly that no gang in any part of this country, no turf, no street, no community belongs to them, that gives them the authority that they could put hits on persons or believe that they have the authority to put the law into their own hands. So the alert state will remain as is. We will continue to peg back these criminal elements. I did hear that there were certain reports, because I actually led the operations in Laventille and after then moving into the Beetham, and you'll get the reports from the media that there are riots and all sorts of different things. I wish to advise the public and to let the media be aware that any of them put God past their thoughts. This time around, I'm waiting on them. No area could feel that they're so big and bad that if we arrest any gang leader, you feel that you have the authority. We'll be walking in with several vans known as what? Paddy wagons. And anyone who breaks the law, I've seen if they're in love with their gang leaders, they will accompany them. They will join them. Nobody has the authority to block roads. No one has the authority to take the law into their own hands. Having said that, I wish to give the assurance we will not profile, target, or any individual based on what they may have done. Everything that we are doing is intelligence-driven, and the operations will be based on that. It is not a case of us just deliberately trying to intimidate or harass anyone. What we would be doing is to peg back criminal elements and to look at those specific areas where individuals continue to utilize their resources, their troops, and feel that they can actually work above the law. So to that question, we'll continue, and if and when we believe that we have actually put the country back to some degree of stability, the alert state will then be decreased to amber.
Commissioner Kyle Saunders from I-95.5. You mentioned that certain persons have access to bail, and that presents sort of a problem. How do you intend to approach the Attorney General and his ministry to deal with this problem? Because they obviously have access to bail.
Good question. Again, this is in similar line to the incident with the ACIB. I will not be in any way state that I am going to direct or demand. I could just solely recommend. As the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, we have to adhere to the law. If the law gives authority that persons who have a firearm that could actually kill, a firearm could have 35 rounds, that can be sprayed in a few seconds, where dozens of persons could be killed, and somebody sees it fit that person, after being arrested by the police, after doing the great work, you see it fit that you could send this person out on bail, well then those persons, I will ask them to look in the mirror. Because I am trying to do a job. The police service, we are trying to do a job. It makes it very difficult for us when persons are being held with firearms in all sort of different serious crime, and they're being given bail as easy as it comes. It's a revolving door. It makes it very difficult for the police service. All I will do is be able to write and make these requests, because we have a duty and an obligation to protect and serve. It is difficult for us to protect and serve when we arrest these individuals and they're just given a get out of jail free card literally every time we arrest them.
Good morning, Rhonda Dowlat, Guardian. 2 questions. Latest stats with respect to the increase in gang membership and maybe gangs identified in and around Police Division, and also Code Red. What does this mean for police officers, especially the ones on leave?
Okay, well, because we've gone to Red, it has not. There are specific things that we have done that you will see an intensified situation, and the Red is primarily in Port of Spain, but not just Port of Spain. There's a saying where you do not set field for bad bowling. We are not going to put all our eggs in the Port of Spain basket, because what they will just do is divert. These similar type operations have taken place throughout Trinidad and Tobago. The division commanders continue to brief Mr. Ford and Mr. Dulalchan. We have an operational command center. And with that now, we are monitoring the situation, and we'll be able to see if it is that they intend to migrate to other areas outside of Port of Spain. What we are doing is to lock down Port of Spain. If it is a cockroach, no pun intended, decides to get out of any hole, we intend to crush them, but we'll do it within the law. So we would be monitoring all individuals who may be persons of interest, looking at what it is that they are doing, and also the persons who be utilized as a conduit towards aiding and abetting them in criminal activity. I wish to also take this opportunity where I've met several of these mothers and aunts and brothers and sisters of these individuals. And it is very unfortunate where these individuals, because of financial benefit they may get, because of their sons, their husbands, being involved in criminal activity, they turn a blind eye. This is a one-way ticket to hell. This is either they are going to be arrested or end up dead sooner or later. The attrition rate is very high. And I will ask all persons who really care about your loved ones, you cannot just be turning a blind eye because of financial gain. You are going to lose your loved ones sooner or later. Money cannot be the value of your loved one. And I speak about this to all the individuals who are fully aware of their sons turning into a life of crime and becoming influenced because they are naive enough to actually be operating on behalf of the gang leaders. These gang leaders, they stay in their lofty towers. They stay untouchable, and they give directives to these other young persons to lose their lives, and they benefit. I ask these young persons, stop being used and manipulated by these pests in our society.
Commissioner Joshua Simongo from TV6. These gang leaders are not new on the block. They've been around for a while. Why has it taken so long for the heat to be applied? And prior to your arrival, are you willing to see if there have been police officers and senior police officers who have been protecting these gang leaders?
I will never in any way discredit any police officer prior to my tour of duty. Everyone has a different style, sir. I am not here to discredit anyone. What I can say is that the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service is not perfect. No police service in the world is perfect. No police service in the world is free of rogue elements or questionable elements. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, we are extracted from society. We could definitely know that our society is not perfect. Everything, the police service will do everything perfect. And if you look at social media, persons will say, well, what about this, and why not this, and why not that? We find a way, especially in our society, this society, find negativity. So the fact of the matter is that if the society is not perfect, police officers will be extracted from society. So we will always have situations where there would be rogue elements in the police service. What I wish to give the assurance to the country is that what we are doing now is putting systems to ensure good leadership, good management, and we are measuring performance. We are making police officers accountable. The concept of GPS on police vehicles is to monitor them, see where they're going, monitor their area of responsibility. I'm polygraphing police officers from the highest rank to the lowest if it is they're in strategic locations. We are able to measure their performance and make sure that if it is that these police officers, they are doing something outside based on intelligence, but we don't have evidence, I am not going to put them in a strategic location. This is why we have seen a number of clinical hits taking place by special elite units who are highly polygraphed. So it's not a case of if we have an operation, we just pass it on to everyone. We're aware that there would be police officers that would be aiding and abetting, influential in trying to assist criminal elements. Over 30 police officers have now been reassigned from the Southwestern Peninsula for just that. If it is that when you join the police service, you're willing to be polygraphed for anything, ask any question, and then after a few years, we ask you, will you be willing to take a polygraph test to state that you are not in any way receiving any type of financial gain or remuneration or supporting criminal elements by bringing in illegal weapons or drugs into the country? And when you get 30 police officers refusing to do so, I will send their names to the Police Complaint Authority. We would monitor them. I cannot fire them, but what I would do is make sure that they do not stay on that Southwestern Peninsula. My intention is to make sure our borders are locked as much as possible. Having the police service seize 1,000 firearms for the year is great. But if it is that there may be one or two rogue elements that may allow 10,000 to get in one night, it would have defeated the purpose and the value of such operations throughout the year. So what we are doing, sir, because of the success we are seeing now, is that we are putting the right horses for courses and making sure that police officers who may be deemed as rogue elements would not have that capability to continue to do so. May I also add, I intend to make a recommendation as well, because at times it becomes difficult. There's a difference between intelligence and evidence. So, for example, if we believe that there's enough intelligence to verify that there's a police officer involved in serious criminal activity, it becomes difficult to fire him based on intelligence. I have over 150 cases, people suing the Commissioner of Police before my tour of duty, based on every single thing under the sun. We love to go to court. What I am doing, and I'm making a recommendation, is that with immediate, in the future for recruits, that they be on contract. So if police officers are now on contract, we cannot do this for all the present police officers because they will all sue me. But what I can do is all police officers in future, you're on a contract of 3 to 6 or 6 years. So we can monitor your performance, we can measure your performance, and if it is that we believe that you're involved in criminal activity, well then after I will fire you and there's nothing you could do about it.
Commissioner, I know you're aware about the situation that has transpired over the last 2 years in Jamaica. And I spent some time in Montego Bay last year. And the instrumental there in arresting the gangs and the gang-related problems there, with the help, of course, of government. And in 2017, the murder rate in Montego Bay was approximately 380, in a population of about 210, 220,000. They had a proliferation of gangs. Very much the topography is made up almost like Port of Spain with the gangs on the hillsides. We're talking about 52 odd gangs involved from things from extortion, lotto scamming, murder, etc. And last year, they implemented a limited state of emergency in that particular area. And by August of last year, the murders were only 62. I think the last time I checked in the summer, there was somewhere like about 90 or less. So having seen that you might have observed some of the patterns that they would have used in terms of the violent nature of these gangs operating in a particular area, and just to kind of pattern that kind of example here in Port of Spain, where there's a lot of gangs operating on the periphery of Port of Spain and within Port of Spain. If this violence continues, and hopefully it doesn't, do you all see in some measure with the assistance of authorities that there might be a case for some sort of limited emergency? And I don't want to put any words in your mouth, Commissioner. I just wanted, based on, we have seen it had been very successful in Jamaica. And last year as well, they had a limited state of emergency in a particular area of Kingston, where they were able to suppress the violence of these gang lords, mainly, and drug dealers.
Okay, I just want to clarify. The first thing, there's no such thing as a limited state of emergency. I keep hearing this a lot. When the president gives a proclamation, the whole country is under a state of emergency. What happens is that you can have a state of emergency with curfews in specific areas. But a state of emergency is something that is national. And that goes to the whole world understands that you're under a state of emergency. So you have a state of emergency with limitation of curfews in specific areas. So I keep hearing this limited state of emergency. There's a saying you cannot be half pregnant, so you can't have a limited state of emergency. The president signs the proclamation and it makes it a state of emergency. And then you can say, listen, you have curfews in Port of Spain or wherever. Having said that, I have to be very clear of my role and function. I have to draw that line in the sand. And it is not in any way my intention to make any comment to the public pertaining to my perceived view as to if it is Trinidad and Tobago should have a state of emergency. I'll give you a quick example. Suppose I say that a state of emergency should not be used as a crime-fighting tool, and next thing the government decides to give a state of emergency. I would have now gone in total contradiction to the government. Or I strongly recommend we have one, and the government then says something otherwise. So with that, I have no comment to make whatsoever pertaining to whether it is there should be a state of emergency or not. I think that question should go towards the relevant individuals, and the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service will be prepared to do what is required. Having said that, let me just clarify. Almost the same things that can be done in an alert state of the police service, other than the warrants, can be done in a state of emergency. So what we have done in a national alert, a Trinidad and Tobago Police Service alert state, we have lifted it in such an intensified manner that you're getting immense mobility, patrols, roadblocks, pegging back criminal elements, monitoring individuals, operational command centers, and putting high visibility, heavy deterrence. All of these things you would see in a state of emergency. So what we have done is utilize the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, lifting the alert state. And the only difference, I think, would be the immediate access for anyone to enter, the police to enter homes without a warrant. That is the only difference. I am looking at all the things that could be done in a state of emergency and having it done without the proclamation of the president on code red. The criminal elements definitely don't want me to go code black.
Commissioner, just to clarify, matter just for the public, of course, in terms of what code red black means, just for the public, I think it's important for them to understand the various levels
Yeah,
So
sure.
they can
The green
understand.
is low risk. Low risk where it is that the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service will then be operating on the basic patrolling, the basic role and function of the police service on a day-to-day basis. If it actually then goes to amber, it means that there is a perceived threat, and that perceived threat may cause an intensification in police mobility, operation, maneuverability, during and specific periods and specific places. If it then moves to red, it now means that there may be a clear and present danger of some significance that may warrant the police service to move to that level, which may cause situations of lock and load, intensified police patrolling, bringing in elite units such as the GB, the MOPS, the SOT, or the IATF, pinpointing certain areas, igniting the operational command center, and utilizing full use of all our intelligence agencies working hand in hand with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, and having the Commissioner of Police making the request to utilize some of the other agencies in national security based on the approval of the Honorable Minister, which he has done, and that being the members of the Trinidad and Tobago Defence Force and other agencies. If it goes to black, it means that the threat is imminent, and it means that the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service will be going full out with sleeves up, and we will be on lock and load. Is probably off. Pardon? But it's not in my dictionary. I've never. What we have to be is to be very aware of individuals. We're aware of what they can do, but I wish to give the assurance that the toughest, the best trained unit with the highest sophistication, operational effectiveness, numerical superiority is the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. No gang, no institution in this country is more powerful than the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. We will use our power within the law to provide the Trinidad and Tobago people with that most fundamental right of safety and security. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, we have a nation to defend. We intend to defend our nation, and we will do what is required. Our police officers, they went out there. I have not slept. I think for most of the other officers, the men here around me, for the last 36 to 48 hours going through, and we will continue to do what is required. Police officers have gone out through in the course of the night in all the different areas, alleys, streets, and we've pegged back these criminal elements. And they could have lost their lives. What I find so unfortunate is when these officers do that, instead of the commendation, the support you will get, sometimes you get the criticism. Yes, we are seeing the public, and I wish to thank the public for giving us that opportunity. All we ask for is to give us that chance to prove our worth. All we ask for is to allow the country to understand that we are bringing hope. And those four letters people do not want. They do not want hope. They want mayhem. They want anarchy. They want to be able to continue to peg back and do what is required to destroy this country because of the financial gain that they are getting. We intend to prove otherwise. We intend to do what is required. And again, I wish to stress, we are going to do it within the law.
So to steal a line from an American rapper, you will never scared.
It's not in my dictionary. What I am doing is making sure that we put things in place. So let them come. We're waiting on them.
Commissioner, just lastly, can you give us an update on trafficking conducted about 10 years ago in reference to where we are in terms of the suspects that are in custody, if they're expected to be charged anytime soon, or is it still something that is still ongoing in terms of that?
Okay, I wish those matters, there are several other operations. The SORT unit, we went to other areas in St. James. There are several other institutions, and we will continue to operate. I wish to ask the media to be very cognizant to the fact of the things that are being circulated. There are situations pertaining to human trafficking and sexual offenses where photographs continue to be sent shown on the media. There's one situation where we are actually investigating to verify whether a certain media house has actually operated outside of the law. We ask you all to. We know the importance. I think probably the person that is most accessible to the media in public office would always be Gary Griffith. I will always be accessible to the media. What I ask you all at times is we need to be we need to be aware that certain things you have to be careful. Especially in this situation with human trafficking and the Sexual Offences Act, you cannot send photographs of these individuals. Thankfully, in social media, there was a situation like that. We sent the release, and everyone they were able to adhere to their responsibility. And I wish to thank the public for that type of professionalism and maturity that you displayed. And I ask all persons to adhere to that. I will ask Mr. Ford just to elaborate on that other question, Mark.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I wish to let you know that as we sit here, inquiries are being continued relative to that human trafficking issue. You have to appreciate that that is a very sensitive inquiry. And even though we may want to share a lot with you, in the interest of national security and for the safety of those persons who will be assisting us, we cannot. But the inquiries are ongoing, and in due course, you all will be informed about the outcome of those inquiries.
We're going to take 2 more questions. 2 final questions. That's it?
Okay, I just wish again to close and to thank the public for giving us the opportunity. I do apologize to the public over the next 96 hours that you may be inconvenienced in certain matters. Please understand, we are doing it to ensure your own safety and protection. These criminal elements, they are bullies. I am not asking the public to take on this fight. This is for us to do. And Mark, to your question, the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, we fear no one. We are fully aware of what is required. We are not in any way going to abuse our authority. What we would do is to put criminal elements where they belong, which is behind bars. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, we thank you.
Remind you of the emergency numbers: 555-999-800 tips 911. Persons with information, please call. We thank you again, members of the media, for gracing us with your presence. We thank you, Trinidad and Tobago, and happy Valentine's Day once again.